And this is Class of 1984 from 1982. And even just from the title, there's something, you look at the poster too, it's like these punk teens and stuff, and you look at it's like, okay, this movie is trying to say that this is going to be what will happen. And that, to me, is so funny. Because the film opens with some kind of crawl where it says, like, what is it even, do you remember the statistic that it says? It says something about, like, however many, like, high school students in America commit violent crimes or something. I can't remember.
I don't remember the opening crawl.
There was something,
actually. There's an end card that I remember, which is kind of ironic, but we'll get there in due time.
There is a lot of irony in this movie. That opening scene, we see students going through metal detectors to enter school. That was a joke in 1982, or it was a sign of, like, this is extreme. This is like, that's life for every high school student in America. And here's the thing, so Class of 1984 is one of my favorite exploitation movies of all time for a number of reasons. I think it just goes to the extremes that most movies just wouldn't be willing to go to. And it's ridiculously entertaining all the way through. But then also add this, is that I am a high school teacher. And as absurd and borderline stupid as this movie is, as borderline, like, alarmist, like, this could have easily, you tweak this movie a little bit, and this could have been, like, produced by Fox News, and this could have been like, this is what high schools are like, and it's like almost propaganda. But I also think the film is aware of that, and I don't think it's fully laughing at that concept, but I think it's definitely having fun with it. But, like, as absurd as it is, there are so many moments of truth in this movie for me, specifically as a teacher at an inner city high school. But I guess let's start with it. So this is a fairly low budget 1980s Canadian-American film. It was directed by Mark Lester, or who's usually referred to as Mark L. Lester. He's just Mark Lester here, who got a start in B-movie exploitation movies. He had a kind of a... Well, he made Truck Stop Women, which I'm pretty sure I've seen, which is like a Roger Corman type movie. I don't know if Corman actually had anything to do with it. And then he had maybe a slight kind of mainstream breakthrough with Roller Boogie from a few years before, which is the film that I have not seen, but I want to. It's the film that kind of helped reinvent Linda Blair as a sex symbol, which I've always joked that, Linda Blair, the little girl from The Exorcist, America wasn't ready for her to be hot. And as a result, she ended up dating Rick James, and it went downhill pretty fast. But yeah, anyways, this is a movie, $3 million budget. You could easily tell me, looking at this movie, that it was less than that. There's no real stars in the movie. There's a future star in Michael J. Fox. There's a former star, a washed-up star in Roddy McDowall, who gives a really fun performance in this. This easily could have been, but the main, like, punk teen, Peter Stegman, played by Timothy Van Patten, this screams star-making role for that actor, for me. Especially because this movie went on to obviously have some kind of cult reputation and everything, and plus he's connected with the Van Patten family, who's all over Hollywood, but for whatever reason, he ended up doing directing, and he's actually had a very good career. He's one of HBO's go-to guys as a director. He directed like a bunch of The Sopranos and stuff like that, probably like Game of Thrones even. But he is really, really charismatic in this movie. I love this movie. This is a movie about a teacher, a music teacher specifically, played by Perry King, Mr. Andrew Norris, who moves into it's a new school for him, an urban high school, and the situation is so much worse than he could have possibly imagined. It's so much more violent, it's so much more depraved. It's established right away because we see the scene of everybody. First of all, I love how the students and teachers arrive at the same time. That's amusing to me. Yeah. I don't think any school is like that. But then we have them going through the metal detectors. So even before that, you see Roddy McDowall close his briefcase and he's got a pistol in there, which is amazing. This is a movie that's like, I don't know if it believes that schools are like this. I don't think it does, but it's also not really satirical. Because what's it satirizing? I don't know, but I love how confusing and weird it is. It's like, it's not a comedy, but I find parts of it so amusingly funny because it's so exaggerated. One of the best aspects of this, in my personal opinion, and this is going to sound weird, but I'll land this plane, don't worry, that the high school is almost entirely white. You know what I mean? This is like an inner city school where like gangs and crimes and just almost everybody's white. And I actually think that's for the benefit of the movie, because I think if this gang, if these gang characters, if they were any other race, they are such monsters that you would say, oh my God, this is the most racist film since Birth of a Nation.
But here, okay, so here's my question about this being set in the inner city, which they say multiple times, but besides some like graffiti drawn on walls in the school, and it's not all of them, it's only certain parts, and I think only the scene where they're in like, is it the strip club where they're like auditioning girls or whatever, like it looks a perfectly fine city, like a regular city in school, like Peter Stegman lives in like a perfectly fine home, like
he lives in like a penthouse. That to me was one of the most brilliant bits of the movie, is that he is wearing a costume. I thought that was great, because he lives in a perfectly normal life. Yeah, it's like his. You'd think he lives in the Cabrini Green projects or something, but then you like no, you see his home, and he's got this like beautiful. Oh man, no, you're right. We don't see that much of the city. You're right. It wasn't the entire school with the graffiti, but at the same time, the set decorator. They had so much fun doing this movie. They had to the amount of graffiti that you see. It's like. This movie is dystopian. It's almost post-apocalyptic. It's Mad Max. It's one of the Mad Max sequels. It's the Road Warrior meets Stand and Deliver or Dead Poet Society, and I think it's so fun because this movie has the structure, or it could have the structure, of one of those inspirational teacher movies. You've probably seen Dead Poet Society. You probably haven't seen Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver is actually the one I would compare most to this. Stand and Deliver is about a teacher in an inner city LA, Hispanic school that teaches them all, that's able to get everyone on board and teaches them calculus. And the school board ends up like investigating them because they don't believe that everyone could have passed the AP calculus exam or whatever. But it's a pretty good movie. My mom was a math teacher, so I kind of grew up with it. This movie has all those kind of tropes of, it's like, oh, there's that one student that's going to be the toughest nut to crack. In Stand and Deliver, that's Lou Diamond Phillips. Here, it's the Van Patten guy. But you see those movies and you're like, that guy's going to be the toughest one to crack, but he will crack. And this movie's just like, no. He's not. He's completely irredeemable, and I find that so refreshing. It's like so fun.
Yeah, what do you make of the scene where he just is actually very talented with the piano anyway, and then nothing?
That was great. That was really good because that was the scene. You think that's where it's going to start turning, and it doesn't. And I think this movie has a few very, very effective moments. We're going a little different structure here. I'm not going like plot point by plot point here. This movie has a few very effective moments where it has moments of shock, and I think this movie does a great job of, it keeps continually giving you, oh shit, they went there moments. One of the first big, oh shit, they went there moments is, you mentioned kind of the strip club or wherever the hell, where they're auditioning girls. It's these students that are auditioning girls to be prostitutes. And they're like selling them drugs or giving them drugs to do this or whatever. It's like, it's messed up. It's like, oh, this is Death Wish. But it's in high school. It's very bizarre. And then obviously another oh shit, they went there moment is the guy that gets high on PCP and ends up climbing to the top of the big American flag and then falling to his death, which may be a little unintentionally comedic, maybe.
Oh, it's shot kind of funny.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like Michael J. Fox's best friend. And the whole thing is like Michael J. Fox like knows who gave him the drugs. And it's like, you got to speak. You got to, bring these guys down. Eventually, they do have an oh shit, they went there moment where it actually gets uncomfortable. It's like a bad oh shit, they went there. But even before that, they're like, Roddy McDowell's pulling a gun on his class. Which is amazing. And then later on, Roddy McDowell's trying to run them over with his car. And it's one of those things that's so much more enjoyable and amusing because it's this like actor that should be above this kind of B-movie schlock. Just so much more fun when it's like, oh, I know who that actor is. He used to be a big deal, and here he is just pulling a gun on his student.
I get a kick out of how every time they do something more and more depraved, the response is from the principal or the administrator is always just, "Oh well, we didn't see them do it, so
Yes.
too bad." And it's like, okay to an extent, but like after literally
If it keeps happening, maybe there's some truth to it. But I actually thought that's what I loved about the Timothy Van Patten performance. Which his performance in general, I don't know if I would call it great. I think he plays it a little bit West Side Story, a little bit like dated, which makes it kind of funny. But then also like the scenes where they're going to the principal and his feigning of innocence is so well done. Oh no, this teacher just has it out for me. Everyone knows I'm the best piano player at the school, and it's like that kind of works because we did see him play piano. What I think this movie does a really good job with, there's truth to this movie. There's not truth to this. There's like truths to this movie. But in my experience, inner city school, I've had the experience of, oh, this is so much worse than I thought it would be, and you get that moment really early. And for me, it hasn't been violence and stuff. For me, it's been more just like, oh, you guys can't read. But it's still the same kind of thing. It's just like, oh, it's just so much worse than I expected. I like they do the first time he comes into the music class. They do two really great things in that scene. They do the bad guys, the gang, testing the teacher, which absolutely happens. If you're a teacher, a substitute teacher, whatever, your first day at kind of a rough school, they will test you. And they will see how much they can get away with. And that is a really challenging thing, and it's a really frightening thing. I'm not, like, frightened for my life the way the character is in this movie, but, like, it's intimidating. And then you have to play it right. You have to play it in a way that's considerate of the people in the class who aren't like that and stuff. And then I also think they do a good job of showing the connection with the students that actually do care. And that's, of course, where chubby Michael J. Fox comes in.
So Michael J. Fox.
I think he's credited as Michael Fox in this movie, isn't he?
Yes. So I didn't really look into this movie ahead of time before watching it, but obviously his name's one of the first ones in like the description when I
He's
found
a
it
big
on
part.
streaming.
He's a pretty big part in this movie.
Yeah. Like I was looking for him, and I feel like I didn't recognize it was him until his like third scene, maybe in the band ensemble.
Because he's so much chubbier than you're used to seeing him.
Yeah, this was only a couple years before Back to the Future. They filmed that.
Family Ties started in 82, I guess.
Okay. I love him with his bowl cut in this. He looks like the kid from Stranger Things. Will.
You will, yeah.
But it seems like the band is the only redeeming thing about the school, and the only thing keeping
It's
our
him and his
teacher
lesbian
there.
friend.
Oh yeah.
I think she's lesbian coded. Right? Do you see that?
I understand what you mean.
And by the way, they could have done a lot more with her because she is the one who, like, she had been conducting the band, like, when they didn't have a teacher, and she ends up having to conduct them, like, during the concert. Like, you'd think I think the movie just didn't have time because it focused on all these other things, but they could have done something where they kind of focused more on, like, her as a character in that moment where she has to kind of step up at the end could have been a lot bigger. But at a certain point, like, the concert becomes irrelevant. The way they handle that is pretty good because Perry King, who plays Andrew Norris, he's really good in that scene. This movie, it's a descent into madness for this character because he comes in, and yes, you mentioned those, and by the way, that's another thing that's very real, that in a class that's completely disrespectful to you as a teacher, you still might have 2 or 3 students that will still kind of brighten your day a little bit. I've had that. I've had classes where just everyone is an asshole and there's just like 2 kids in the front row who are just like great and they'll laugh at my stupid jokes and stuff like that. And that's Michael J. Fox and his lesbian friend in this movie. So I think the movie did a good job with that because that is a real thing. Norris he goes about it through the correct channels. At first, he goes to the principal and nothing happens. Nothing's able to change. And it's mostly problems with Peter, the Timothy Van Patten character, but he's got a gang of punks. There's that fat guy, there's the girl who I thought the scene where he first shows up at the class, there's like a little indication that the girl might be the first to turn and actually like be into the music class, and then they just abandon that completely. Yeah. But there was like, wait, you're supposed to be in this class, right? And then she had like a moment of hesitation, and then it's just constant escalation because eventually the punks blow up his car, or they set it on fire or whatever.
Yes.
And then so he's like, okay, I'm done, like, going to the principal. This didn't even happen on school grounds. This happened outside my home. So I'm going straight to the source. I'm going to this kid's home. I'm going to talk to his parents. And this scene was brilliant. The mom, not only is she completely unaware, but she's like, oh, my son would never do that. He's a saint. I can't tell you how many fucking interactions I've had like that with parents, not at their homes. This is all phone calls and emails, but how many times I'll be like, yeah, your son or your daughter was bullying this kid, or they cheated on this thing. It's like, oh, my kid would never do that. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, lady. He did. Do you remember how much you lied to your parents when you were a teen?
Yeah.
How do parents just forget that they did that and just like, oh, well, my son said it happened this way and I believe him? Like, come on, you know you were a piece of shit when you were 16, right? Whatever.
And especially this kid is big with the puppy dog eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, especially, he's right. In that scene, like, he's dressed like totally normally. Like, he's...
Mm-hmm.
He plays it up big time. Norris gets chewed out of the house very quickly.
Yeah, and he threatens him over the intercom. And then Norris goes and trashes his car, which is great. I love...
Yes.
That's another thing. This is, I mean, not literally. I don't want to come across as a psychopath as I talk about this, but there is wish fulfillment in this movie for me. Because it's like, yeah, I'm a professional. I'm a teacher. I can't act certain ways, but there are moments where I'm like, oh, fuck that kid. I want to, and then I love that you get to see him do that. It's amazing. I'll be honest. I've never once thought that I wanted to throw one of my students on a circular saw. But it's beautiful to see that happen.
So I was thinking of that too, so I'm not sure if you want to get too far ahead, but especially during that later kind of extended...
Once it becomes a true revenge movie, because there's a back and forth, and then something happens where there really is no coming back from. And it's actually like, it could have happened earlier. The PCP could have been the moment. Or the angel dust, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But that could have been the moment. Then they threatened Michael J. Fox a bit because he was the witness. And then there's like the movie plays like lip service to like Norris's home life.
Oh, there was a hysterical moment for me. You know when he kind of gets hit in the head? Like this is one of the earlier incidents. Like when they think they the one where they're in the bathroom and Van Patten pretends he got beat up by the teacher and like gets the blood on his forehead.
Oh God, yes, that scene where it's the liar scene.
Yes, and so then he goes home.
Man, Your Honor.
So he goes home, and his wife is, oh my God, what happened? And then it cuts to an exterior shot, and it cuts back, and they're naked in bed. And I feel like, did he have post like injury sex?
Yeah. So I will say a weakness of this film is Norris's home life. And that ends up being kind of the crux of the movie, too, at the end. So that's definitely...
because he says pretty early on, like, okay, you should go out of town for a little bit. And she's like, no. And then there's, like, lip service to them, like, oh, we're drifting apart. And it's like, no, my students are trying to fucking kill me. And they keep coming to my house, so I want you to get out of here.
Yeah, they blew up my car. You were 10 feet away from it. That having been said, I did like the picnic scene. Because this was a genuinely good performance from Roddy McDowall, where he kind of breaks down and he's like, if I could just make a difference on one kid. And I'll tell you what, that is a very real moment. I've had moments like that. Roddy McDowall's next scene is he snaps and he's holding the entire class hostage with his 9mm pistol.
I love when he puts it to the girl's head to answer the question.
I like how they were able to kind of stretch this moment out, because it's like he could literally just snap and just shoot a student here. He could. But no. Norris stops it. But then he has another moment, like a scene later, where he sees them. He sees them on the street in the middle of the night, and he tries to run them over. And it's just so fun. And
then he just completely, like, he hits another car in such a way, even after hitting other cars, that he just like flips over and immediately dies.
Yeah.
The violence does get kind of cartoonish in the last... I mean, it's cartoonish the whole way through, but the last third especially.
Well, because there's not much violence before. It's all, like, intimidating.
There was another car-related incident where I saw, like a funny edit where the girl member of the gang is driving the car. And when it crashes, in the shot where it crashes, you can very, very clearly see no one's in the car.
Okay.
And then it comes back to her and she's knocked out or dead behind the wheel.
So we got to point out, of course, we have an Alice Cooper song to start. Very kind of new wave Alice Cooper. It's kind of a style of music I'm not used to hearing from him, but I like it. It's called I'm the Future.
Yes. Two very big musical talents involved with this movie.
Michael J. Fox, because of his guitar solo in Back to the Future? Or who?
No, I was referring to Alice Cooper, and then the composer of the movie was surprised.
Oh, yes!
The score was like, it sounded like I was picking up on this. The score was good. And then I looked it up after, and it's Lalo Schifrin. How do you pronounce his name?
Lalo Schifrin, yeah.
Of Mission Impossible
way
fame.
Below his pay grade for a movie like this. This is the guy that did the score for Dirty Harry. He wrote the Mission Impossible theme. Yeah. He's a legend. Yeah, what's he doing here? Yeah, and
the score stood out to me as consistently high quality, despite the look of the movie.
A moment that really stuck out was this like subtle foreboding music that he did in the scene when Norris was being threatened on the intercom. I thought that was really good. That it stood out to me there. But yeah, I forgot about Lalo Schifrin. Yeah, that's another thing. And also I mentioned Mark L. Lester earlier, the director. I told you what he had done before, but I didn't include. He went on to make a couple of fairly big mainstream movies. He did Firestarter, which I know some people like it. I don't know if I don't know much about it. But in 1985, he directed one of the 10 greatest films ever made, as far as I'm concerned, Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that's worth pointing out for two reasons. One, Commando is like, in my opinion, like the best A-movie budget version of a B-movie, maybe ever. That is a B-movie where nothing matters but the action and one-liners, and it's so stupid, but it's so well done. And then also, I point this out because Commando is very clearly an action comedy.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last?
That's right, Major. You did.
I lied.
So this movie, if it's a comedy, it is an incredibly dark comedy, and there aren't moments that make me laugh, but it's like the entire thing as a whole to me is like humorous. It's because it's so exaggerated, it's so over the top, and then there are things too about it being dated. You know, there's the 80s punk fashion is always funny to me because it always looks like Mad Max or Escape from New York. I mentioned the fact that they're all white. Also the fact that they never named the city and that they just call it Lincoln High, which makes me think that this is in Lincoln, Nebraska, where it's clearly supposed to be like South Central Los Angeles or something, but I just picture it being Lincoln, Nebraska, and that makes it funny to me.
So should we talk about the climax?
Well, yeah, we got to get to where the movie actually turns because it gets very, very unpleasant. The gang, led by Peter, rapes and kidnaps Norris's wife. And then so Norris is getting ready to do his big concert. He's on stage. He's ready to go. He's excited. He actually, like, the principal even says, like, I can't believe we got this many people here. So that's like our, like, oh, you've been doing an amazing job with the music program, I guess, which is news to me because all of his time has been occupied on this revenge.
Yes.
Then right before the concert's about to start, that girl punk gives him, like, an envelope, and it's a photo of his wife tied up or whatever. And he immediately takes off running, and he goes looking for them. So that's when the girl has to step in and conduct the concert. And that's like, yeah, but why didn't they hand Michael J. Fox a guitar and tell him to go to town? I guess you guys aren't ready for that, but hey, their kids would love it. So then, get a little cat and mouse in the bowels of the school. But he basically picks off these punks one by one. The first one cuts off the guy's arm on a table saw in the shop classroom and eventually throws him onto the table saw. Just an amazing scene. And this is like you mentioned, like, kind of the cartoony violence. This is really like where it starts going, like, oh boy. This movie is built on escalation and oh shit, they went there moments. We just had our previous oh shit, they went there moment with the wife getting raped, but now it's like, oh shit, now it's like getting fun in like a schlocky exploitation-y way.
Now he's actually taking revenge on the kids, or like,
yeah, which is like, we've been building to this point. And here's the thing, Timothy Van Patten plays that role so perfectly that you want nothing more than to see this guy die. You don't care that he's a teenager. You don't care that, like, he seems so irredeemable.
Yeah.
That his death is, like, the only thing that could make this movie worth it, basically. Let's see, he sets a guy on fire in, like, the garage.
Yes.
I forget what happens to the girl.
Yeah, well, no, that's she's in the car.
Oh, that was the car.
She, like,
yes,
drives the car at
in
him.
the garage, yeah.
And it gets crushed, and in the shot where the car gets crushed, she's clearly not in it. And then it cuts back, and she's there dead.
Yeah, and he sets a guy on fire, and then he's fighting Peter on the roof.
Oh, and Peter has his wife with a knife to her neck, and cuts her at one point.
Mm-hmm. You know, they fight, and Peter gets all bloodied, and he gets, you know, it's one of those... Have you ever been in a high school that has these? It's like a skylight thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Suspiria. But he's hanging for his life from there. And then there's that, like, oh, mister, you're not going to let this happen, are you? And he does that, like, the innocent puppy dog looking thing. Meanwhile, his face is just covered in blood and everything. And he's, as he's reaching for it, then Norris appears like he will let the guy back up. But then he reaches for a knife. So he lets go, and he falls to his death, and he gets hanged from the rafters right above the concert as that's going on. It is a moment straight out of Suspiria, and it's so over the top, it's so amazing, and I think the movie just ramped up perfectly to this point. Like, this movie, through the Timothy Van Patten performance, through the writing, through the pacing, the plot, it built to a point where you want to see a teenager hanged in front of 1,000 people. Like, that is a victory. We see that, and we see that, we do not feel, oh, it's a shame that it had to end this way. It's not like Dirty Harry. Dirty Harry ends, he kills the Scorpio killer, and then throws his badge into the pond because he's, like, done as a cop. And no, this is like a triumphant moment, and it feels triumphant for me as a viewer.
I also think it's interesting that they know they can't top it once it's happened, so the movie immediately ends. Like, it cuts back to...
There's no falling action whatsoever.
It cuts back to...
We just get the song again.
Yeah, Norris and his wife on the roof, they hug, and then just the end card, and then done. Like, we're not going to explore the outcomes, like, did things get better? No, this guy is fucking dead. His crew is basically all dead. Like, they got their comeuppance, the end. Oh, and then conveniently, because nobody saw it, just like all the stuff the kids were doing, Norris is not prosecuted.
I love this movie. Vincent, what do you think?
I'm
sure you don't love it as much as I do.
I can understand why you love this movie. I did not love it, but I can understand why you and maybe others would.
It's wish fulfillment for me. This is like a traffic cop that watches like Dirty Harry or something, and it's like, oh, I want to be that guy. Like, this is me as a teacher. I want to be that guy.
I will say the escalation aspect kept me into it more than I thought the first 10 minutes were going to lead to. And just seeing what else these assholes were going to get up to. Was fun. I kept thinking in the back of my head, like, these guys could be like members of like the Joker's crew in like a Joel Schumacher Batman movie. Or maybe Tim Burton.
But that to me is the performances. I mentioned like the kind of the West Side Story aspect, because their behavior is Mad Max, Escape from New York. The performance is more a little campier.
Yeah.
But I think they should be darker.
Feel bad for those animals. When they skinned all the animals.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's what made Roddy McDowell snap.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was odd, because Roddy McDowell's the science teacher, but that scene where he's breaking down at the picnic and he's talking about like, oh, if I could just get them to read this one book or something, like they almost set him up as an English teacher.
Yeah, but I was entertained. I don't think as entertained as I continually am by the other movie we discussed, but I understand why this resonates.
Let me ask you: have you ever seen anything like this?
No. And that's the thing. I'm not a big cult movie watcher.
No, you're not. Very few people are as into exploitation movies as I am. And you mentioned cult. We said B movies. This is first and foremost an exploitation movie. I know there's intersection between all three of those things. But this is a movie that doesn't give a fuck. You know, we are not remotely concerned with being politically correct. You know, we have complete and utter disregard for good taste. And I like that. I like that in movies, in exploitation movies, be they in the horror, action, or sometimes even in the comedy realm. There's something just admirable about that. It's funny because like this movie has real talent in it too. You mentioned Lalo Schifrin obviously is like the biggest one who like what was he? How did they get him? Because this guy's like been nominated for Oscars and stuff. Amityville Horror was just a few years before this. That's like a really iconic score. Bullet, Dirty Harry, like I mentioned. Enter the Dragon, I forgot about that. That's a great theme song. And he had his TV run too. Mission Impossible, Mannix. Yeah, does he just need to buy a yacht or something? I don't know. I mean, it's a $3 million movie. They couldn't have paid him that much. Maybe he just really liked the story. Maybe he's just like, you know what? I don't like teens. I'm into this. And then I mentioned, obviously, Mark Lester went on to, you know, he did Commandos, his big thing. He did a few other kind of...
Well, he directed the sequel to this movie, which I unfortunately did not have time to watch, but just even reading on Wikipedia is one of the most absurd things I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
Class of 1999, that came out in...
I am familiar with Class of 1999. I've never seen it. But there's
also
a
sequel
Class
to
of
that.
1999 too.
Yes, that was not by Mark Lester, though.
No. And that one, I believe, is far worse. But Class of 1999 is a classic, like, that has, like, B-movie royalty in it. Like, Pam Grier's in that, Stacey
Malcolm McDowell's in it.
You mentioned Clockwork Orange earlier. Yeah, that's, like, those guys are, like, exploitation movie legends. And that movie is this, but with a sci-fi twist, where, like, the teacher is, like, a Terminator, basically. I have a feeling that is more overtly comedic than this is, because this one, I kind of view this as a dark comedy, but one of the things that I like about it is that it never really plays its hand as comedy. It treats everything seriously, and that to me makes it funnier, because it's so absurd. But yeah, I mentioned the talent. One of the screenwriters also was Tom Holland, who had a hell of a decade. He did not the Spider-Man Tom Holland, obviously, but he wrote and directed Fright Night. He directed and co-wrote Child's Play. Like, he was in that kind of like sort of B movie-ish, but a little bit more elevated. He had a good decade in the 80s, and he wrote Psycho too. Also, he didn't direct that. But yes, there's like a lot of talent in this movie, and I think it's well done. It's very odd, but it's well done. And like Perry King, I believe, I'm with him 100% of the way. Like the way the escalation, like you see his frustration, and yeah, it's cheesy. The way constantly no one believes him. The way his wife undersells what he's going through. The way the principal just kind of looks the other way. Like, yes, it's cheesy, but like it works. And I like his moments of joy when he's actually teaching band and he's not being terrorized by the punks. And then it's those punks. Those punks are fascinating. So yeah, Timothy Van Patten is a good-looking guy, by the way. Like, he's got movie star looks. And at least in this movie, movie star charisma. Did not do much acting at all after this. Only a handful of movies, but he directed 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, including the first one, 2 episodes of Rome, 10 episodes of Boardwalk Empire, 1 episode of Deadwood, 3 episodes of Sex and the City, 3 episodes of The Wire, 20 episodes of The Sopranos. He wrote Pine Barrens, which is arguably the best Sopranos episode, so I'm assuming he probably directed that one too. No, that was directed by Buscemi, excuse me. But clearly an HBO go-to.
I mean, he certainly has the looks to have been a leading man.
He does, yeah.
He did a Black Mirror
I think
episode,
I think it's a truly charismatic performance too. I think he's great in this movie. There is a little bit of that kind of like silly, kind of old-fashioned view of teens in there, but like he's good. I don't know. I really like this movie. First time I saw it was long before I was ever a teacher. But my first high school teaching job, I really was kind of thrown into the fire. I took it in the middle of the school year, and it was just like weird. And after like 1 week of being there, I'm like, you know what? I need to see this movie again. And like I was watching that with my parents, and they're the entire time they're looking at me like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why do you like this movie? But like I was like seeing moments of truth, and there's certain aspects of this movie that are so well done from a character perspective and from like a teacher-student dynamic perspective. Like, yes, every single thing is heightened, but I thought it worked really well. I am a big fan of this movie, and I would recommend it to anyone who can stomach an entertaining B movie that goes a bit too far in terms of violence, in terms of a lot of things, I guess. In terms of its outlook on the world. This could be right? Don't you kind of agree with me? Like,
yeah.
This, rearrange this a little bit. This could be remade on one of those like conservative grifter like streaming services, right? Like one of those things. Like, isn't there like Daily Wire Plus?
No, very possible. Yeah.
Like you just rework this, but make it all like LGBTQ students. There is a little bit of this movie that's like old man yelling at cloud, and I think that's kind of funny too.